Hi everyone! In this video we are going to talk about Maybelline's newest foundation launch. It is called, it's a little bit of a mouthful, the Dream Urban Cover Full Coverage Foundation. It is currently available through places like Ulta and I think Walmart and Target and of course your local drugstore in stores. I don't think it's quite widely, massively available, but it should be trickling out within the next month or so to be widely available. This will be a little bit of a different video compared to my usual try-ons and reviews and wear tests, and you'll see why in just a second. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to the channel by hitting that red subscribe button and go follow over at Allura Beauty on Instagram. That's Allura_beauty. I'll put the handle in the description box below. Real quick, I did this eye look where on the main mobile lid, used this shade from one of the new Huda Beauty Neon Obsessions eyeshadow palettes. It is so gorgeous. I have kind of mixed thoughts, and if you want to see a full review and swatches for all three of those new palettes, I will link that in the upper right-hand corner for you to see. All right, let's get talking about this newest foundation from Maybelline. So like I said, this should be widely available at local drugstores and places like Walmart and Target pretty soon. I'll put a link in the description box to where you can purchase it online right now if you don't want to wait for it to be available physically in stores, as well as a link to eBay so that if you do shop online, you can get cash back. Now, I will start by saying that I was very excited about this foundation launch. I was really looking forward to finding my shade match and wear testing it and reviewing it for you and letting you know my thoughts. So I want to go over the things that are really good about this foundation first, and the things and characteristics about it that really made me excited for this new foundation to be on the market. One of the first major claims is that it says that it perfects and protects skin with SPF 50. That is amazing. It is very hard to find, especially a drugstore foundation, but really any drugstore foundation at any price point that has that level of SPF. There are some foundations on the market that have something around the 15 or 20 SPF range. Sometimes if you're lucky, you'll get up to 30, but something that has that much coverage and protection is really hard to find. And I mean coverage in terms of protecting your skin from the UVA and UVB rays. Now, you don't necessarily need that high level of coverage. At a minimum, you should be using a sunscreen that has SPF 30 in it. And I also want to make a note of caution. I don't mean to suggest that this foundation will be a great substitute for your sunscreen. You should probably still wear sunscreen underneath. It would be fine to wear an SPF of 30 and then put this foundation on top, although wait till the end of the video before you follow that advice. But since you're not going to be using the amount, or may not be using the amount of foundation that you would need to get full coverage, full protection from the sun, you should still use your sunscreen, and you should be putting some protection on all exposed parts of your body. So you're probably not going to be putting foundation all the way down your neck or on the back of your neck or on your ears, but you should be wearing sunscreen on those parts if you want to protect your sun from the UVA and UVB rays. But circling back, it is fantastic that this is providing you a foundation with the SPF in one product at such a substantial level of SPF. The second thing that I thought was great about this foundation is that it very clearly states that it is formulated with antioxidants, which again is combining the skincare with foundation or makeup, and it's going to be really nice to hopefully see more and more brands do this kind of merging so that your makeup isn't just a one-dimensional functioning product, but will give you multi-dimensional benefits. Not just the coverage and the smoothness of your skin, but actually giving your skin good ingredients that will help over time. The third thing that it says is that this is a full coverage foundation. Now, of course, the spectrum of coverage or level of coverage will be up to your personal preference. So I'm not necessarily saying that that's an objectively great thing about this foundation, but the description says that it combines the full coverage with a lightweight formula, which is super hard to find. And so it's fantastic that they are introducing or trying to give you a formula that feels lightweight while still giving you that full coverage at a drugstore price point. And last, it says that it will leave a natural looking finish. The foundation does come in a squeeze tube, so it doesn't come in a pump or a bottle. That's fine with me. I think that makes it really travel friendly, although I will say that the tube is not fully opaque. So because you want to protect the sunscreen in the bottle, make sure you keep the foundation out of direct sunlight or high heat. If you leave it in direct sunlight, those sun protecting ingredients will degrade pretty quickly over time. So I was all ready and excited to put this foundation in my cart, wear test it for you, review it for you, do some day testing throughout subsequent days to see what I thought about the product. And then this happened. I actually started looking at what the ingredients of the foundation are, and all of my hopes and dreams came crumbling down. So before I get into that, one other thing I will say that is kind of a negative is this only comes in 16 shades. Now, that I think is a little more typical of drugstore foundations, although I don't know how long that statement will, I don't know if that statement will withstand the test of time, because as we go on through the years and companies learn that they need to really make broader ranges of foundation, they have been improving on that, but there's only 16 shades of this particular foundation, and I think that why that is particularly problematic is if you look at the range, there is a severe lack of deeper and even medium to deep skin shades that are available. That's exacerbated by the fact that this is supposed to be a full coverage foundation. So when you have something with less coverage, like a tinted moisturizer or something with light coverage, you can be more forgiving, and one individual bottle of foundation in one shade can cover and have more flexibility over a few different skin tones and depths and ranges because the coverage isn't as full. But if you're going to market and make a full coverage foundation, then you are super restricting people who don't really exactly match that color and tone. So the lack of range for this foundation is going to be particularly noticeable given the full coverage nature of the foundation. Now, you've probably guessed by this time, since I haven't actually showed you the physical product and I'm not actually applying it to my face, that I didn't end up purchasing the foundation. So to be clear, this review is not an actual testing of the product on my skin. These are things that I want you to be aware of given what is in this product, and you probably can also probably tell that I'm not going to recommend you purchase and use this product. It's not something that, even for the purpose of the review for this channel to share with you, that I would put on my own face to test it out. So why is that? Well, if you look at the ingredients, there are two major problems with this foundation, and I'm gonna separate them into the family of problems. The first family of problems is the SPF 50. Now, I know I just praised this for having SPF 50 and how great that is, but then what I realized is the active ingredients, the ingredients that are providing you that sun protection, are homosalate, octisalate, and octocrylene. I hope I'm saying those correctly. What is important is these ingredients are sunscreen ingredients, but they protect against UVB rays almost exclusively. I think homosalate has a very narrow range of UVA protection. It's one of the three that has a very narrow UVA protection. The rest are pretty much exclusively protecting you against only UVB rays. Now, why is that a problem? Well, it is important to have a sunscreen that protects against both types of rays, because UVB rays are the rays that will burn you. It's easy to remember because UVB, B for burn. And of course, it is important to protect against that so that we don't do that extreme and very visible damage to the skin by getting a sunburn. But it is just as important to protect against UVA rays. UVA rays are the rays that age your skin. And that's easy to remember because it's UVA aka for aging. So if you are only having active ingredients that protect against one type of ray, you are not actually getting full spectrum protection like you're supposed to or like you should, which I find disappointing because Maybelline on its website claims that this is a broad spectrum product. Now, technically, can they say that without lying? Yes, because one of the 3 active ingredients has a very narrow range that technically protects you against a narrow range of UVA rays, but practically speaking, it's not actually giving you protection from the sun when it comes to UVA rays. You want a product that has something like avobenzone, titanium dioxide, zinc oxide. There are a lot of other protective ingredients that will protect you against both UVA and UVB rays. Or there's lots of products that have one active ingredient that protects against UVA rays predominantly and another one that protects you predominantly against UVB rays, and having the inclusion of both of them in a product gives you that full spectrum protection. But in this foundation, they've included 3 active ingredients, none of which protects you from the UVA rays. So that's the first major no-no. You do not promote having this really innovative, great, pollutant protecting, sun protecting, high SPF foundation only to be selling people something that actually only gives them half of what they should be getting in a foundation that claims to have a lot of SPF, if that makes sense. All right, so what's the second family of problems? That comes with the claim of this being a great antioxidant foundation. Basically, I just have a huge problem with the ingredients in this foundation. Now, to be fair, let's start with a couple of really great ingredients that are in this foundation. The predominant one of which is niacinamide. In fact, niacinamide is the 5th ingredient in this foundation, so there is a good amount of it. So that's fantastic. That is a great skincare ingredient for your skin. It looks like there maybe is 1 or 2 antioxidant ingredients in here. I really, to tell you the truth, didn't go ingredient by ingredient like I usually would to test out the ones that I didn't immediately recognize, but it doesn't seem like it is jam-packed with antioxidants. So maybe I take that back. Niacinamide seems to be the best thing about the ingredients in this foundation. The major drawbacks, the ingredients that are big no-nos and are very, very prevalent in this foundation, and one of the other major reasons why I didn't purchase it to put this on my own face. Number 1, denatured alcohol. Not only is there alcohol in this foundation, but it is the 4th ingredient in this foundation. I know there are still people who will comment and who maybe forever for the rest of their life will say, alcohol doesn't damage the skin, it's fine. Look, you read the scientific research for yourself. Even if you ask a lot of physicians, they will tell you how, yes, alcohol is used as a disinfectant when it is really necessary, but otherwise they will tell you alcohol kills skin cells. It is like using a bomb when you are trying to solve a small little problem. So if you have a major cut or something and you're really wanting to fight an infection or something like that, yeah, you could use the nuclear option. I'm being a little bit extreme here, but I hope you get my point. You can use the option of using denatured alcohol. But to put it all over your face in a foundation, at the very least, it is a very drying agent. So if you have sensitive or already dry or even normal skin, the regular use of it is going to dry out your skin, subsequently will lead to irritation of your skin. And as I already kind of mentioned, it is harmful. It is detrimental to the skin. Other people say, well, it's used to help stabilize the product. There are so many foundations out there that have no denatured alcohol in them and have a normal shelf life and are completely stable. So it's certainly not necessary to achieve that. So big first no-no. And then what else do we have fragrance that's been added to this foundation. Fragrance does absolutely nothing beneficial to your skin. You will not hear any dermatologist ever worth their salt or your money ever tell you you should spray this fragrance on your face because it will help your skin. Because it won't. Fragrance is an irritant. A lot of people say, well, I'm not sensitive to it and I've never seen any sort of damage. Well, it's a damage that happens gradually over time. It is not immediately visible for all people. If you want to take that risk and you don't care, then that obviously is a personal decision for any ingredient or anything that you do with your body, your skin, or ingest or whatever. But if you want to know what has been scientifically supported as being good or bad for your skin, fragrance is just a big no-no. Now, what I will say is that it is the fourth to last ingredient, so thankfully, it's not like it's full of fragrance. It's not the first or second ingredient in the foundation, but it exists. So it does pose a potential to irritate and damage your skin. But on top of that, there is also an ingredient listed as limonene. Again, I don't know if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, and citral. These are both fragrant plant oils. I'm guessing something lemon peel, lemon oil based, and citrus based. Not only are these also going to have the detrimental effects that fragrance would, but on top of that, things that are citrus based have a photosensitizing risk that is very, very real. Again, these are the last and third to last ingredients, so there isn't a large amount. I will absolutely give you that. So the risk is probably pretty small, but lemon-based or citrus-based oils on your skin, especially when you are exposing the skin to sunlight, is absolutely not something you want to do. And we know that people who are wearing this foundation are going to be out in the sun. Why? Because it is marketed as a foundation where it's supposed to protect you from the effects of the sun, and having ingredients like this do the exact opposite. And it would be one thing if it were just a little bit of alcohol in this foundation or a little bit of fragrance or the very last ingredients being the citrus oil. But having all three of these together, they actually work together to be more and more and more detrimental. So that is why at the end of the day, I would not test this out on my own skin. I would not wear it out in the sun, and I wouldn't recommend that any of my viewers who really care about the health of their skin buy or wear this foundation, which really disappoints me because I was really excited to have this kind of product in the market. I don't feel like, or at least I can't recall from my memory, there being a product like this out on the market that has a high SPF, that is drugstore, that is supposed to have a lightweight feeling, yet full coverage, full coverage formula. If you know of any of those things, absolutely leave me a comment and please let me know what is out there that fits that category. But unfortunately, I think that consumers wanting something like this are going to have to wait a little longer for a company to do it right. All right, those are my thoughts on the new Maybelline foundation. Please feel free to share your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I'm not saying that this foundation won't look nice on the skin or that it won't wear well. I am saying that it doesn't really matter how good it's gonna look on the skin. It is not worth damaging your skin in these kinds of ways to wear this foundation. All right, I hope this was helpful to you. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I'll see you in the next video.